Okay, so let's take a look at the API that we're going to be using for the rest of this module. So we've set this up for you so that it's quite a bare bones API that only has the functionality that we need to teach you how to use it and how to use React. But what you learn here is applicable to almost every API that you find on the internet, or every REST API anyway. So go ahead and have a look at our react-backend.fly.dev site. Just fly.io is where we've hosted the API. Go and take a look at this. At the top here, we've just got a little bit of an intro, especially if you've just stumbled across this website accidentally. Just a little bit of something to bear in mind is if you've not received a student key yet, you should have done, because we have set it to automatically email out when you start Unit 2. But if you've not received this student key yet, make sure that you reach out to your instructor or on Slack or in your next one-to-one if it's coming up soon. And this will, you will need your student key for some of the API calls that you will be making. Also, just to bear in mind that you will be adding data to kind of this backend database via the API. But in order to make sure that it just doesn't get too full and we're not paying for huge databases, every week we do delete all of everything that's in the database. We do that at about midnight on Wednesday evening or Wednesday morning, and at the end of the day on a Wednesday. So if you add something to the database at say 11:30 on a Wednesday night, maybe you are in a different time zone or something like that, and it's not there in half an hour, this is why. So maybe just keep an eye on the clock if you're working late on a Wednesday, or maybe you're in a time zone that's a little bit offset from the UK. So what are some of the things that we can do with this API? Well, we can grab all of the pizzas. We can request to have whatever pizzas are in the database. We can request all of them. Now, if you don't use the student key, so if you make a call to this URL here, you will just get the 5 admin pizzas that are always in the database. I think there's a Hawaiian, a Margarita, and some others as well. But if you do use your student key using the query string here, student underscore key, you'll get all of the pizzas that you've added to the database. So it's kind of like a nice, you can really make this your own app. The great thing about this documentation is it'll tell you the method, it'll tell you the URLs, it'll tell you whether you need any JSON body in the call, and it'll even give you an example response of what you can expect to get back from the API, and what the correct kind of response code is. There are some warnings on them, but these aren't really if things go wrong. It's just to let you know what you should expect if you don't make a perfect call, for example. So we'll be able to get a single pizza, be able to get a bit more of a detailed view of whichever pizza we request. We will need the ID of the pizza if you, in order to get that more detailed view of it. And again, you may need your student key if you're requesting a pizza that is one of your own. But you'll see that there's a bit more kind of information in this response, and it's not an array, it's just a single object because it's just a single pizza. You can also add new pizzas to the database. Now for this, you will need your student key, simply because I just don't want anyone in the world to be able to add things to our database. Only enrolled students should be able to do that. So yeah, you will need your student key. And also we need to be able to link which pizza belongs to which student. So that's why you need your student key. And for this, you'll need to do a post request because we are going to have a JSON body as well. Couple of warnings that, some things are optional on this, but if you don't add something that's optional, when you then request that pizza back, those things just won't exist on that pizza. So make sure that your app can handle that, and we will go into that a little bit further down the line. You can edit your pizzas using a patch request, and you can also delete pizzas as well, only your own pizzas, of course. Just be aware, though, a little bit like rm-rf, this will just instantly, completely destroy any pizza. It's not going to ask you for confirmation or anything like that. So just make sure that you're happy with what you're doing there. So let's go and have a play with these, all of these endpoints. Let's open up Postman. So I'm just going to command space and open Postman. And then when it does actually load, cool, we can just go ahead and make a new HTTP request. You'll see that I've actually got these here because this is for testing, and you'll see this soon as well when we're testing before we make the API calls in our React app. But for now, just go ahead and hit new, a new HTTP request, and then go ahead and just copy from the documentation this API endpoint here. So we want to make a GET request to the pizza endpoint. And if we send that request, fantastic, we get this list of 5 different admin pizzas. So go ahead and have a play around with all of these endpoints. Make sure that you're kind of putting your student key in when it's required. But yeah, go and have a play. And if you like, try and create a collection of all of the different kind of requests that you can make, so that it's easy for you to kind of jump back and to while you're building your React application.